Welcome so much for joining us this evening.
Well, thank you so much. It's an honor and a privilege, so thank you for the invitation. So good evening, everyone. I am Lainey Carter, your Vice President of College Advancement at HAC. I'm also the Executive Director of the HAC Foundation, and we are here this evening to tell you how we can help you to achieve your goals. There are many ways that the Office of College Advancement and the HAC Foundation can help you, and I have brought with me two brilliant women who are going to join me this evening and telling you more about that. So I'm going to pass the baton to Natasha, and then we're going to get started with the rest of the presentation.
Hello, my name is Natasha Walton. I am the Director of Grants and Corporate Relations here at HAC, and you will learn more about. I'm excited to be here and to share with you the exciting things that the Department of Grants and Corporate Relations do to help colleagues reach their HAC goals. And now I'll pass it on to Morgan.
Hi, my name is Morgan Horton. I'm Development Officer for Organizations here at HAC, and I see a couple familiar faces or names on the list here. Some of you who are have already worked with us on grants, so you'll know a little bit more than some of your colleagues do to start. I'm going to pass it over to Lainey.
I'm going to now give you an overview of the Office of College Advancement. We are one of 7 college-wide divisions, which means we serve all of our campuses and, of course, virtual learning. And we have 5 departments, and this may be new for some of you. These are in alphabetical order. They're all equally beloved, but one department is our Development and Alumni Relations Department. This team of colleagues focus on raising money from individuals and alumni. Our second department is our Financial and Support Services Department. This team processes all of our charitable contributions from our donors. So whether we get a check, we get online, we get stock, they process all of those contributions. They also manage the assets of the foundation, which total approximately $40 million. In addition, they provide support to fundraisers. They do research for donors. They maintain our donor database, and they maintain the foundation's financial database system. So this department is very important, like all of them. They are really essential in providing support for us. Our third department is Grants and Corporate Relations. This is a department that is led by Natasha, and Morgan is an essential part of this department. They raise money from organizations, and they'll tell you more about that. Whether it's a foundation or a corporation or a government agency, that's what they do, and they're great at it. Our fourth department is Integrated Marketing Communication, and this is a team that handles advertising, branding, marketing, and public relations for the college. And last but not least is our Website and Multimedia Resources Department. This is the team that snaps into shape and whips into shape our websites. So many of you have worked with Teresa Richwan and Qua Pham. They maintain all of our websites for the college, and we're so grateful for them. In addition, this department handles our videography and photography. So those of you who have worked with Melanie Wagner, Melanie is part of this department as well. And so these 5 departments make up the division called Office of College Advancement. So if you go to the next slide, you're going to see our key functions. And again, I won't go over them, but in alphabetical order, this is what we do. And I have to brag about my amazing team. We're great at what we do, and we're honored to work and serve HAC, serve you, and serve the foundation. And then we're going to tell you about our claim to fame. So no matter where you go, there is an imprint from the Office of College Advancement. We raise millions of dollars a year. We had a banner year last year. Natasha and her team, they raise many millions of dollars every year, and you'll hear more about that. When you get a postcard in the mail, when you see a website, if you see, we now are advertising on transit, buses in our area, our social media sites, all of those things have been touched and impacted by the Office of College Advancement. And so this is truly our claim to fame. You have noticed, if you work with us, that we do focus on accuracy. And so we are detail oriented because We have been entrusted with the college's brand, so we cannot afford to have a typo in a billboard or a typo in a publication. We literally mailed a publication to 800,000 households last summer. That publication cannot have typos. So if there's ever any question about why we're so detail-oriented, why we're so committed to accuracy, because there's a lot at stake, we have been entrusted with this information and this brand and your reputation, and we take that very seriously. I'm gonna now turn it over to Natasha, and she'll tell you more about her team. Natasha?
Hello. The Grants and Corporate Relations team provides a service to the college by helping colleagues raise money from organizational donors. We also have our own donor portfolio of organizational donors for which we are responsible for researching. We cultivate that relationship, we solicit them for contributions, and we help build a relationship with them. My team also managed the grants and sponsorship processes as well as the logistical planning for the Day of Giving. And I don't know if any of you have been able to participate in the Day of Giving, but this year, for next year, 2019, the Day of Giving will be held on April 11th. And it's a college-wide event, and even virtual learning participate in the activities, and we help raise money for our students. So it's really a community event, and we welcome all participants, whether they're faculty, staff, students, or the community for which the campuses serve. So during the rest of this presentation, you will hear more about the impact that Grants and Corporate Relations has on securing funding for the college and the HAC Foundation, and how we can further help you and you can help us secure additional funding from organizational donors. I'm now going to turn it over to Morgan.
Hi, everyone. So what are the top 5 reasons to secure grants? You can see that we have used grants to fund innovative projects that help students with their learning experiences, and I'll talk about that on the next couple slides. We can use grant funding to purchase equipment that you need to enhance instruction. So, for example, these sim people here, they can be purchased with grant funding. We can use it to support the college's strategic plan and also to enhance curriculum and program. And of course, the grant funding that we get helps us to change the lives of our students. So specific to you all, how can you use grants to help achieve your HAC goals? We can use grants to find alternative sources of revenue, including federal and state grants and foundation and corporate funding. It's a great way to fund innovative projects that align with the college's strategic plan or the campaign that we're involved in right now. And it's really a way for you to expand your ability to serve our students. Next slide, please. So I have a couple examples for you of grants that we've received recently. One is the Adams County Community Foundation. We received about $7,500 from this foundation to help us to ensure that our mechatronics program at the Gettysburg campus is using the advanced technology that our students will encounter in the workplace. So we want them to be able to learn hands-on exactly the things that they will be expected to do when they are hired by employers in our area. Next slide, please. Another great example is a National Science Foundation grant that we had a couple years ago, and a couple of you on the phone here will recognize this project. We had a I think it was more than $200,000. I think it was $240,000 that we were able to use to improve the network connection between the Harrisburg campus and the Midtown Center. And that really enabled us to improve the student experience. They were able to use software that they didn't have to purchase and have on their own computers. They were able to access it virtually, which I think would be interesting to you all on the call here. And it really helped the science, technology, engineering, and math students to access information that they need to succeed in their courses. Next slide, please. Another great example, we had a $50,000 grant from Steelcase that allowed us to put active learning furniture in a classroom on the Lancaster campus. And this really was a test classroom that we were able to use to do research on the effectiveness of a new approach to classroom seating and design and how it improved student learning. And so you'll see a picture of the classroom there. Unfortunately, it doesn't have students in it, but we did find from the research that was done that it was really, the students really liked it and faculty really liked teaching in the space. Next slide, please. Another example is a grant that we got from the Klein Foundation to purchase a new fire engine. So if you're familiar with our John J. Shoemaker Public Safety Center, you know that they are always setting stuff on fire up there, and they need newer equipment to be able to learn the best practices in the field. And so we were able to get this fire engine for them with grants. Next slide, please. So those are a couple examples, and I wanted to let you know what you can do, how you can apply for grant funds. So information about grants is available out there on MyHack, so you can go ahead and peruse this whenever you have a moment to. But the first step is really to read about the grants process, download AP 171 so that you can learn what it is that you need to do to access grant funding. There are documents with all kinds of information there about the grants development process and even implementation. I know that a lot of people are a little scared when they hear grants, you know, I'm going to work on a grant, but we really do as much as we can to help make it a great experience for you. Next slide, please. So as you're getting ready to apply for grant funds, once you feel like you're ready to do it, I think it's a great idea to start planning before you begin the grant application process. So know what you want to do, know what your goals and objectives are, know what it is that you want to do with grant money, know how much it's going to cost. And we provide a white paper template. Again, it's on the OCA channel on MyHack that you can use to sort of flesh out your ideas before you even get to the proposal process. And then you'll use a lot of the information that you would put into a white paper to fill out the pre-approval form that is required before you can apply for grant funding at HACC. Next slide, please. So there are a couple of things to note as you're going into the grant pre-approval form to fill out. You don't have to know the funding source. We really, we do the research for you. We have to know about your project though to know what to look for. And also grants need to tie directly to the college's current strategic plan or the fundraising campaign that we're currently in. So in other words, the project needs to help the college achieve its strategic plan goals. And also, it's really important to remember that it takes some time to get grant funding. So if you submit a proposal in January of 2019, it might not be funded until July of 2019 or even December of 2019 or later. So you really need to take that into consideration as you plan. Next slide, please. So, of course, we need you to do a great job on grants. For us to be able to do our jobs, we really need your help. So once you've got the money, in your hands, how do you spend the money? Next slide, please. So receiving a grant means that the funder has put great trust in you and in your project and in our organization. And so you will be responsible as a grant project manager to ensure that the money is spent as promised. So we need to implement the project exactly as we said that we would in our grant application and in our contract. So it's not our money. We have to spend it the way the grant funder or donor wants us to. So we have a notice of award process. We'll give you the notice of award with all of the information that you need, and we expect you to read all the documents, make sure you're complying with our rules, and of course ask questions if you don't understand. And we'll give you a series of deadlines. For example, there are deadlines for reporting, and we really want to make sure that you have everything that you need to succeed. And let us know if you can't spend the money as expected. So maybe you get a $50,000 grant and we get really lucky and we go and we apply for, or we put out a request for proposals to buy a fire engine, for example, and we expect it to be $500,000 and instead it's $100,000. Well, great. We're going to need to spend less money from that grant on that fire engine. So we can work with the funder to make sure that we're in compliance and doing everything we are asked to do. And so the grant project manager, who would be you, would also be responsible for reporting. So typically grant funders provide report formats and you tell us what information, we tell you what information you need to collect. And then we give that to you at the beginning of the grant so that you can work on that as the grant evolves. Next slide, please. So this is an example of the notice of award so that you can see the types of information that we would be giving you. If you've been awarded a grant, the assigned development officer, probably the person who worked with you on the grant application, will send this award notification to you and will assist with the grant implementation and performance reports. And the OCA team will also help you celebrate your accomplishments with news releases and newsletter articles, and that we share internally and externally. Next slide, please. So I have a couple quiz questions, and I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work in this format, but you need to know, the first question, you need to know which funding source you would like to apply to, true or false.
Can you type the responses in your chat, please? Yay, Nicole! Nicole's on it.
Yes, excellent. Thank you. So yes, false. We're matchmakers. We'll help you find funding that is a good fit for your project. Next. All right, your grant project must support HAC's current strategic plan, true or false? True. Thank you. Next. Who may submit grant applications on behalf of the college? All of the above? We think so? Anybody else? Okay, the answer is C. Only the Grants and Corporate Relations Department staff are authorized to submit grant applications on behalf of the college. You need to be an expert in grant writing to successfully receive grant funding. Nicole, you have the answer to this. False. Yes, we will help you. You give us the information. You're the content experts. You give us what we need to make it into a really great piece that we can share with funders. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Natasha now.
Thank you, Morgan. So this past year, we've enhanced our sponsorship program to include more opportunities. So we reached out to cabinet members for events that organizations could and would want to sponsor. And thank you, Doreen, because she provided information for the virtual learning events. And because of her input, we were able to offer our donors a variety of opportunities that appeal to them. So the top 5 reasons for organizations or individuals to want to sponsor a HACC event is that organizations gain exposure to more than 100,000 HACC students, employees, and alumni. Organizations are able to promote their organization and increase their brand awareness. Organizations can promote their organization's commitment to education. Who better to show that than supporting their favorite community college? And organizations get the opportunity to maximize and stretch their marketing dollars. So it's a win-win for them. They get to do all these wonderful things and still be able to increase and maximize their spending. And organizations get the opportunity to change the lives of a HACC student, which is also their future employee. So the HACC Foundation secured more than $109,000 in sponsorships to raise funds to support HACC students. The money raised through sponsorships supported this past time around, supported Funds for Excellence. When we have sponsorships that come in and they will support any one of the priorities for the fundraising campaign. Since the events were already planned, sponsorships do not go to underwrite the costs of those events, which allow all of the sponsorship dollars to go directly to support HACC. Over 20 organizations supported the 2018 Day of Giving, and this allowed us to give tuition giveaways to over 20 students. The organization gained exposure by presenting the tuition giveaway to the student. It was advertised on our website, our social media site. So it's a great way to give back to our students and give them the support that they need, as well as they get the opportunity to gain that exposure to show their commitment to education. So I'm going to take you through our sponsorships webpage, and hopefully everybody is still able to see our sponsorship webpage. So here is our, if you go to hacc.edu/sponsorships, you'll be able to pull up our sponsorship webpage, and you'll see a list of all of our events that we currently have available for sponsors. It gives them a detailed description for each event, the location, the date, and the time. And then they can go ahead and click on the levels available for that event and select the type of level that they want to sponsor. Once they decide and determine what event they want to sponsor and the level, then they just go ahead and complete the sponsorship commitment form. They mail that form back with their check and their interest, and we go ahead and make sure that all of their benefits are met and that they get the exposure that we promised them when they committed to their sponsorship. I'm now going to turn this over to Lainey.
Thank you, Natasha. Thank you, Morgan. So how do you receive HACC Foundation funding? We have this amazing team of professionals, and they raise lots of money for the college, in addition to our president, our campus leaders, and of course, our favorite leader, Doreen. So we're all responsible for raising money. So how do you receive these monies? Because our students and you are our very top priorities. So you may be familiar with our allocations process. So 4 times a year, we send out an email from Foundation Board at hacc.edu, and we send it to HACC Everyone. So all HACC employees receive the email 4 times a year, inviting you to apply for funding from the HACC Foundation. So I'm going to take you to the next slide, and you will see a screenshot from MyHACC. So if you look under the Office of College Advancement channel of MyHACC on the home page, the arrow points to a section called HACC Foundation Funding Request. Everything you need to know about this quarterly process is available for you on MyHACC, right at your fingertips. So how does it work? Next slide. You get the email. We give you about a month to apply for the funds. And if you go to My Hack, there's a timeline already out there for the application processes in 2019. So you don't have to guess, it's all out there. And we also prompt you 4 times a year, so you don't have to remember to apply. We will prompt you, and if you just simply do what we ask in the email, you'll be ahead of the game. So you apply for funding, and we then, we have a committee for the foundation board called the Allocations Committee. We give those board members all of the applications, and then if it's below a $20,000 ask, the chair of the committee and I, as executive director of the Hack Foundation, we have the authority per Hack Foundation policy to approve or deny your funding before it goes to the full committee. So you have a request for $2,000 or $3,000, we do have the authority to vote, the 2 of us, the committee chair and myself, yay or nay for those. For those projects though that are over $20,000, we invite you to present to the Allocations Committee for about 15 to 20 minutes, and there's an opportunity for them to ask you questions, and when you leave the room, we vote yay or nay to fund your project. And so if you look at these images on the screen, these are 4 real-life projects that were funded by the Hack Foundation. The very first image at the top is our auto lab from the York campus. The image to the right of that is our mechatronics lab from the Gettysburg campus. And right below the York campus image is our smart room from the Lancaster campus. And then below, right to the right of that, is our one button studio for the Lebanon campus. And I know what you're thinking. What about the virtual learning? What about us? Well, don't you worry. I have great news for you because you are a top priority for us and we have not forgotten about you. The process is easy. We do recommend that you read all the instructions before you actually complete the application. Everything, again, is in the My Hack per the screenshot that we just shared with you. And for those of you who have done the process, you will find that it's a very, very easy process to follow. Just read the instructions. And if you have any questions, please consider me and my team as a resource. You can call or email me, or you can email foundationboard@hack.edu, and we'll be sure to answer your questions in a timely manner. Next slide for me. So again, here we go. This is everything you need to know on My Hack. The ones in the red boxes are really important. And the other ones are resources. So you have a presentation. We did do a Zoom session to describe this entire process, and we recorded that. So please feel free to watch that. But everything that you need to know from A to Z is in this section on My Hack and the Office of College Advancement channel of My Hack. Next slide. So we're gonna take a quiz. So my first question for you is, and again, please use your chat to type the responses. And Nicole, I do see your question, and I'm gonna answer that for you. So the first quiz question, and I know that you're faculty, so you love quizzes. How many days do you have to turn in your final project, your final report after completing your project? How many days do you have to turn in? So after you've gotten the money, you completed your project, you now have to tell us what were your outcomes? How many days do we give you to do that? Please type in your responses, A, B, or C. No responses? All right. Great job, David. Yes, 30 days, B is correct. So thank you so much for chiming in there. You took a risk and it paid off. The next question. Between July 1st, 2015 and this past August 31st, how much has the Hack Foundation approved for projects? A, B, or C? What are your thoughts? Yes, C. Great job, Nicole. We give out a lot of money because, again, as I mentioned earlier, our students and you are our top priorities. Everything that we raise in the Office of College Advancement and the Hack Foundation, all those monies are for our students and you. Our next question. What is the most you can request from the Hack Foundation non-scholarship funds at one time? A, B, or C? Who wants to take a guess? A, B, or C? What's the limit? Matthew, C, absolutely correct. There is no limit. So let me tell you about your fantastic Vice Provost, Doreen Fisher-Bammer. So I don't know how many of you know, but Melinda Fraker DeFonte, she's part of Workforce. She's the Assistant Director for Workforce Development, Corporate and Business Services, and our Doreen presented to the Allocations Committee just last week. And they co-presented on a project called the English Language Learner Fast Track. And they asked for a whopping $106,565,000. So let me repeat that, 106,565, 6 figures. And it was approved. They rocked it. This was just last week. We sent the email to them today, informing them that they received this money. So we are very proud of Melinda. We're very proud of Doreen. And Doreen, I'm going to allow you to tell everyone about the project and what role virtual learning will play in the project. And then I'll be able to get to Nicole's question. Doreen?
All right. Thank you, Lonnie. Yes, it was an easy process. I worked with Abby from Workforce Development, again, Mel, and also we also collaborated with Christine Noack in the English department area. So this was a collaborative project. We had a few meetings in advance to kind of think about our vision, where do we have needs for those students who are English language learners. Also, we reached out to Lori, who is the vice president for the Lebanon campus. And that's kind of how we got started. Then we put together a model to implement an English language learner fast track. As we know, we have a lot of individuals living in our communities that English isn't their first language. And how do we do a better service to prepare them? Many of those individuals are coming from other countries. They already have degrees. Some of them have a doctorate degree and they've moved here and they're not able to, again, get employment that they need because of this particular barrier. So with that, as Liney appropriately shared with you, it isn't a difficult process. We reviewed the training materials that are available. For me, I actually created a template of the questions that we would need to fill out online for the form, just so we could all collaborate in advance and know how we're going to answer the questions. And then we got an opportunity to present to the foundation. And we were so excited and so grateful for, again, this request to be approved. And Virtual's role in this particular project, we will be partnering with them to offer some of the curriculum online, and there will be some face-to-face time as well. So it'll be a blended offering of curriculum for the fast track. Also, we embedded a component of digital literacy, so we'll be assisting those students and individuals with basic computer skills, but also assisting them with the computer skills that they need for their intended career. And again, many of them will be taking their GED test online. And so as we know, it's kind of, many individuals get nervous just to begin with as they're preparing to take their test. And then on top of that, having the layer of being comfortable with the computer and the technology. So we're going to partner with Workforce Development and their students to make sure that they have those digital literacy skills and to help them offer that curriculum, again, in a blended both online and on-campus format. So thank you, Liney, and to the foundation for this opportunity. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And it was amazing. It was great information. And this committee that votes on the funding, it is not a rubber stamp committee. So there is no guarantee. They are as comfortable saying no as they are comfortable saying yes. And they were blown away. And they really liked the fact that this initiative, you know, this was a huge investment. There was no hesitation. And this commitment is going to put us on the map. We are probably one of the few organizations doing this kind of work. So we think that the work that you good people will help with will really put us on the map regionally and maybe even nationally. So again, we're very excited about the investment. So we have a question from Nicole, and this is a great question, Nicole. How do we get an event on the list of sponsorship opportunities? So Natasha reviewed with us the website. So if you go really quickly to hack.edu/sponsorships, and we're going to give a PDF of this PowerPoint to Doreen, so you'll then have these slides for later reference. So we're happy to do that. It asks, the template is very, very clear. So Nicole, what we do is very simple. Email sponsorships@hack.edu. And in that email, Nicole, give us the name of the event, the description, the campus or college-wide or virtual learning, the dates of the event, the number of people who you expect to attend, and then give us that information and we'll take it from there. We ask for that information because we do use it for the website, but the estimated number of attendees is really important because we use that to really sell our sponsors on the exposure. Being able to tell a sponsor that hundreds of people attend an event, when you give them that information, they're impressed by that and they're more likely to say, yes, I want that kind of exposure and I will support your event with a sponsorship. Commencement is one of our success stories. We have AAA has sponsored our commencement ceremonies, sponsored it for spring, and they're going to sponsor it again for December. And that was a $5,000 sponsorship for AAA. And so if you look on the website, you do have opportunities for virtual learning on the website. And Doreen and I meet often, and there are many more opportunities that will be added. So, you know, Natasha and Morgan and I met yesterday to talk about this presentation, and Natasha's new to the college and she's been here a little over a year, and Morgan has been here close to a decade. So she's a veteran. But I was telling Natasha, and Morgan agreed, that we have brilliant faculty among our virtual learning colleagues. And I told Natasha, I see many of them, if not all of them, are brilliant. There's no shortage of ideas. You do amazing work. And so we want to better leverage that, which is why we were thrilled to be asked to present to you this evening. So you always should feel comfortable sharing ideas with Doreen, who will then share them with us. If you do want to share ideas with us, please feel free to do that. Just simply copy Doreen on the email, because we are absolutely here to serve you and our students. You are our top priorities. So Nicole, I hope that was helpful for you.
Yes, thank you very much. That was very helpful.
Very good. And we're going to give you another opportunity to ask questions towards the end, so please keep them coming. So our next slide, and this is where we really need your help. So as you know, we have a process that we call our story bank. And if you go to this link, hack.edu/storybank, it is a very simple process. We have streamlined it. We're simply asking for our students, you, our alumni, various stakeholders to complete a very brief questionnaire and upload a picture. And if you have seen our billboards, if you've seen email blasts, if you've seen social media posts, we're now on Instagram, we're now doing transit advertising. I would love to see our virtual learning students, our virtual learning alumni, because you do have alumni, our virtual learning faculty in these marketing materials. So whether it's a web slide, we have YouTube ads, we do a lot of marketing activities. I would love to see you out there. So if you could, and one of the ideas that Morgan does, in case you didn't know, Morgan has many talents, but she's also an adjunct faculty for virtual learning. And Morgan, tell them about an idea that you're doing with your students, because I really do encourage all of you, if you can, to implement this idea.
Sure. I use student stories a lot in the work that I do. It's really important to include real stories about our students in our grant applications and in our letters that we send to donors. It makes it a lot more real for them, and it really helps them to connect with what they're giving to. And so one of the things that I started doing is asking my students if they would please fill out the story bank, and I offer them extra credit. They ask for extra credit a lot, and I thought, well, why not? So I said, hey, by December 7th, I think was my deadline, if you would fill out the story bank and then send me an email to let me know, I'll give you 5 extra points on an assignment. And I've had about 6 students so far fill out the story bank.
Thank you, Morgan. So if all of you could commit to doing that in the future, that would be wonderful, because when we use those stories, it benefits us. We're doing a lot more marketing of programs. We've been meeting with Doreen about marketing more virtual learning offerings. So to the extent that you can encourage our students and our alumni and even you to complete this process, we will have what we need to really put you on the map, the global map. Let's not even limit it to the state like this. Let's just go global. So thank you for that. And thank you again, Morgan, for the idea. When she asked, she said, can I do that? I'm like, heck yeah. So I was very grateful. So the goal is eventually we would love for all faculty to do it. But if you could do it for starters, in addition to Morgan, that would be a huge help. So our final slide for you this evening is, and we want you to feel comfortable asking us any questions. Natasha, Morgan, and I are here to answer any questions that you have. So at this time, please ask away. David, great question. So let me tell you, we can go to find our strategic plan. If you go to the website, and I'm going to give you a quick link, go to hack.edu, hack strategy, hack.edu/hack strategy. If you go there, our plan is called The Journey to Excellence. There are 4 goals, and voila, they're all there. So again, hack.edu/hack strategy. And there it is. Let me know if you cannot find it.
And if you're working on a grant pre-approval form, there's also a link in the pre-approval form. So if you 6 months from now you're doing it and you don't remember this, or you've lost what you wrote down, you'll be able to find it there.
The questions have been fantastic. Please keep them coming. Other questions from any and everyone? What are your questions? Have you found this to be helpful for you? Yes, no, maybe so? All right, thank you, Nicole, for the feedback. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Jasmine. Thank you for the feedback. We're grateful. Any other questions for me, Natasha, or Morgan? Thank you, Matthew. All right. Well, if you process the information, if you think of any questions, please feel free to call or email us. Again, we're going to give this PowerPoint to Doreen so she can share it with you. Please feel free to use it as a resource going forward. We're here to serve you. Our students and you are top priorities, and we take that very seriously. Doreen, we're going to give it back over.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you, David, for the feedback. Appreciate it.
No, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I beg your pardon.
I was just thanking everyone for the feedback. Thank you, Michelle. We're grateful.
All right. Well, thank you, Liney. Thank you, Natasha. Thank you, Morgan. And as I shared with many of you in the email this week, at our upcoming Virtual Learning Campus Day in January, if you have any items that you would like to contribute to our online auction for Day of Giving, please bring them in January with you when you attend our event, so Elaine can start uploading all of our opportunities for people to bid on our online auction. She can get started in putting them in there now, so she's not kind of rushed at the last moment to get all that in there before the Day of Giving. And I did say that if you're, sitting at the holidays, opening up a gift and you think to yourself, this isn't the gift for me, we will kindly take regifts. So anything that you would like to donate to the Day of Giving online auction that is in good condition and in packaging and ready to go, we would greatly appreciate that opportunity, because as you know, all of the Day of Giving online auction items go to our Virtual Learning Fund for Excellence. So you're really contributing to the success of our students. So thank you again to our guests, Liney, Natasha, and Morgan, and most directly thank you as well to our faculty who joined this evening. All right, if there isn't anything else, as Liney mentioned, we will share with you the PowerPoint to the links to the resources and also the recording. So thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.